Mr. Trump is not a man of peace, he is a man of world destabilization. But Iran has shown us that when a people believes in itself, believes in its capabilities, when it is convinced it is a strong civilization, rooted in its own values, well, that people can resist anything. And Iran has just demonstrated that to us.
Before we proceed with the full speech, it is important to note that this is an address by the Prime Minister of Senegal, which has sent shockwaves across Africa. In his remarks, he delivers a strong defense of African sovereignty while directly confronting Western powers. To fully appreciate the context and significance of his statements, we will now listen to the complete speech.
Removing sitting presidents, simply removing individuals in order to extract them and then subjecting them to your own version of justice is not truly democracy, especially if it is to be properly understood in terms of international law. Which war has been won? None. No war has been won. The United States and the West have engaged in many wars in recent decades. They didn't win the Vietnam War. They didn't win the war in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Syria. They didn't even win the war in Somalia, where they were forced to withdraw, pursued by armed gangs, except for sowing chaos and disorder in their wake. In these countries, none of these wars have been won because none of the objectives have been met. These countries will not be cited as examples of democracy, under the Western conception, of course. What objective was assigned for the war in Iran? It was to replace a regime that has not been done. The same regime, in its most radical and harshest version, will continue, and the United States is forced to talk and negotiate with this regime. Reducing Iran's ballistic capabilities, that has not been achieved. Forcing Iran to renounce all nuclear programs, both civil and military, is not an achieved objective. None of the objectives have been met. And yet, the world is plunged into a chaos that nothing justifies. Mr. Trump is not a man of peace, he is a man of world destabilization. And alongside all of that, should we also feel regret for the actions and behavior of the other Western faction, the eternal givers of lessons? From the start of the hostilities, all Western regimes made statements deploring the violation of international law and international order. But it stops right there. And to soften and justify themselves to their boss, they must nevertheless add that they rejoice that leader Khamenei was executed, since he is a dangerous terrorist who oppresses his people. That they rejoice that Nicolas Maduro was exfiltrated because he was a dictator playing a balancing act that nothing justifies. It is not for them to judge and decide for other peoples. Let it be enough for them to do it for themselves, which seems to be increasingly complex. Make America Great Again simply refers to essentially the realization that the sole superpower we once were was, in fact, in the process of losing its position in the face of the rising power of other blocs, and particularly China. The solution is not the one being used today by America and by President Trump, trying to reassert its absolute power over its sphere of influence, notably Western Europe, part of South America and the Gulf, trying to cut off supply lines to stifle a competitor at the risk of destabilizing the entire world is not the solution. And the United States themselves will not escape the extremely negative consequences. What are these consequences? Will we witness a rearmament of many Asian countries which, given what has happened, are realizing the limits of American protection? Japan, which hosts the largest American military base in the world, South Korea, since the Gulf countries were not sufficiently protected by the United States, or at least could not withstand the Iranian strikes. Will countries that have the capacity to rearm, including on the nuclear level, continue to entrust their security or part of their security to the United States of America in the face of China's rising power? This is a question that perhaps researchers will answer, or history in the making.